It was a television series that blurred the line between fiction and reality, created by an artist who made a career doing the same. Inspired by a long history of entertaining and educational programming, it attracted viewers of all ages. Was it a show for kids? Was it for adults? In the end, it was a place everyone could play in. Hi, I'm Dan Larson, and this is the history of Pee-Wee's Playhouse. Thank you to Magic Spoon for sponsoring this video. Click the link in the description below and use code TOYGALAXY for $5 off your order today. If you're anything like me, you get hungry when you're bored. And when you're tired, or anxious, or excited, or stressed, lonely, happy, sad, sometimes I have a snack while I'm eating a snack. My worst habit by far is eating while I'm sitting at my desk working. I don't even notice how much or what I'm even snacking on. Magic Spoon gives me an alternative to mindlessly inhaling sugary foods and then washing it down with a sugary drink. Because Magic Spoon has 0 grams of sugar, 13 to 14 grams of protein, and only 4 to 5 net grams of carbs in each serving, just 140 calories. It's keto-friendly, gluten-free, grain-free, and soy-free. They've got flavors like my personal favorite, fruity, or other popular favorites like cocoa and frosted, or try limited time offerings like cocoa peanut butter or the seasonal pumpkin spice. Magic Spoon is backed with a 100% happiness guarantee, so if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. And don't forget, Magic Spoon ships to Canada and the UK. Click the link below and use my code TOYGALAXY for $5 off your very own custom box and choose from Magic Spoon's best-selling flavors. That's magicspoon.com/TOYGALAXY to save $5 off your order today. And thanks again to Magic Spoon. Pee-Wee's Playhouse is a live-action television series that originally ran 45 episodes over 5 seasons from September of 1986 through November of 1990. Created, produced, written, directed, and with music composed by Paul Reubens, it is art that is not only representative of its creator, it is inseparable from him. Pee-Wee's Playhouse is a magical place that exists in a world called Puppetland, a series featuring a wondrous blend of visual storytelling mediums from live-action performers and puppets to clay and cell animation and various combinations in between. Each episode opens with a serene, surreal wildlife animation that gently beckons viewers into its storybook version of reality, focused on the Playhouse itself with a facade buttressed by kitsch, pop art, toys, cartoons, historical artifacts, and art. That moment of serenity is truncated by a delightfully obnoxious opening theme, blaring like an alarm clock, sounding the beginning of a new adventure too awesome to miss. A manic frenzy of whirling activity welcomes viewers to the Playhouse as Pee-Wee is greeted by a roll call of residents. Each episode takes viewers on a journey through fantastic fun, adventure, learning, and discovery, exploring life, love, and laughter alongside human characters including Cowboy Curtis, Miss Yvonne, the King of Cartoons, Reba the Mail Lady, and more. You've truly landed in a place where anything can happen. It's wacky, it's nutty, it's cuckoo, it's Pee-Wee's Playhouse. Paul Reubens, originally named Paul Rubenfeld, was born in Peekskill, New York in 1952. His parents had a place in Sarasota, Florida, which is where Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus happened to spend their winters. As such, he was fascinated by the strange and unusual spectacle from an early age, the bright colors and dynamic styling of the circus imprinting on his young creative mind, artistry and illusion that inspired him to pursue acting. Reubens graduated from high school and went to a regular college for a year before applying to schools that specialized in performance. Juilliard and Carnegie Mellon both turned him down, but Cal Arts said yes. In 1979, after graduating from college, he joined the improvisational comedy group The Groundlings, with contributions from fellow Groundlings performers Phil Hartman and John Paragon. A new character, a new identity for Reubens emerged, Pee-Wee Herman.
Pee-Wee, oh, I'm gonna get in trouble right now. Pee-Wee is a conglomerate of me and a couple of other little kids that I knew when I was a little kid. I used to work in Florida at the Oslo Repertory Theater, and I did a season of Life with Father for 3 months, and by the time we had finished the run, I was playing the second oldest
You were growing
teenager.
up into...
And by the time we finished the run, I had turned the character into a cartoon without even realizing it. And I was, good morning, mother, hi, and that was where Pee-Wee's voice came from. And Pee-Wee was a name that I just thought was, an attractive kind of name. And,
For a kid,
yeah.
So now you got this character.
Yeah, I got this character.
Over how long a period of time did the character take to evolve into the entire Pee-Wee Herman show?
About 3 years, I think. I worked at the Groundlings improvisational group here in Hollywood for about 3 years. And towards the last year, I needed to expand Pee-Wee into something else. I had about a 10-minute stand-up act that I was doing as Pee-Wee, and I really needed to expand that and do something different with it because I wasn't really a stand-up comic. So I got this idea to put him in a playhouse and to, develop a show along the lines of the old kid shows in the 50s. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history. Well, history it is indeed.
Pee-Wee Herman was born from necessity. Necessity for revenge, sort of. When NBC's Saturday Night Live underwent a full cast and production reboot for the 1980 season, Rubens auditioned. Despite being one of the 22 finalists for the cast, he knew that Gilbert Gottfried was also a finalist. Rubens was self-aware enough to recognize that he and Gottfried possessed what was essentially the same energy and range of characters, but as Rubens saw it, Gottfried had better connections leading to his selection, and Rubens being left out. Being rejected for Saturday Night Live turned out to be a blessing in disguise, not only because the 1980 season is widely recognized as one of the worst seasons in SNL history, but because it gave him the time and motivation to develop a new project, a stage show centering his own talents and his own character, Pee-Wee Herman. Rubens borrowed $3,000 from his parents to start production. He recruited writers and actors like Phil Hartman and John Paragon, and the result was the Pee-Wee Herman Show, a live on-stage recreation / homage to children's television variety shows like Captain Kangaroo and Howdy Doody, including opening theme song with animation. The stage show introduced the idea of Puppet Land, the visual aesthetic of the Playhouse itself, and many of the familiar characters that would surround Pee-wee for years to come. Captain Carl, Miss Yvonne, Terry, Clocky, Jambi the Genie, Mr. Knucklehead, and more. The Pee-Wee Herman Show took off quickly, moving from the Groundlings Theater to the Roxy Theater in Hollywood. It kicked off a 5-month run of performances, including 2 versions of the show, matinees in the afternoon for the kids, and evening performances for the adults. The show grew fast, and Pee-wee's popularity as a pop culture character grew with it. In 1980 and 81, Rubens was cast in TV shows including Working Stiffs and the Flintstones comedy show, and the feature film The Blues Brothers starring SNL alumni John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. But it was Cheech and Chong's next movie, released in July of 1980, that featured the big screen debut of Rubens in the role of Pee-wee Herman. A year later, in December of 1981, HBO aired a recording of a live performance of the Pee-wee Herman Show from the Roxy Theater as part of their on-location series. From 1982 to 1984, Rubens rarely broke character during public appearances. He was a frequent guest on late-night talk shows, honing the character and expanding his audience. The Pee-wee Herman Show began touring, even appearing at Carnegie Hall. In 1985, Rubens finally made it to Saturday Night Live, this time as host and as Pee-wee Herman. Warner Brothers recognized the demand and put a Pee-wee Herman movie into production. According to Rubens, once he saw the movie Frankenweenie, he knew Tim Burton was the right person to direct, saying, quote, "I knew Tim was the director about 15 seconds into Frankenweenie, like the second or third shot of it. I was looking at this wallpaper in this bedroom and the lighting and just going, this is the guy who has style and understands art direction," end quote. Written by Phil Hartman, Paul Reubens, and Michael Varhall, Pee-wee's Big Adventure did $40 million on a budget of $7 million, cementing Pee-wee Herman as a genuine pop culture icon, proving that the character had crossed over demographics and achieved mainstream awareness and popularity.
No TV, no TV.
What? No.
Hello, I'm Pee-wee Herman.
Talking Pee-wee is really cuckoo.
He's naughty.
I know you are, but what am I?
Soon you'll be that way too. Whatever you may do, it's so much fun when he's with you.
Banana sandwich?
Arr!
You'll go wacko, you'll go crazy with Talking Pee-wee.
Talking Pee-wee from Matchbox for you and your kid. Cherry sold separately.
What's that? Major Lock?
On the strength of Pee-wee's Big Adventure, CBS offered Rubens an animated series, which he declined. Despite cartoons as a genre being in the middle of a golden age in weekly syndication and dominating Saturday mornings, Rubens wanted to produce the kind of show he grew up with, the kind of show he'd been producing. For him, Pee-wee's Playhouse was going to be live action or nothing. CBS gave Rubens a budget of $325,000 per episode to make a weekly 30-minute series. That's the same kind of money that sitcoms got at the time, a demonstration of their belief in the series and a demonstration of their belief in Rubens, or rather Pee-wee Herman, who was given complete creative control over the series and whose name appears in the end credits. Because at this point, Pee-wee Herman was Rubens' identity as far as the public was concerned. The character he created, he continued to play in public appearances. He joined a short list of performers who never broke character, who average viewers wouldn't even recognize outside of that character. Elvira, Alf. Mr. T is borderline because as far as I know, there's no playing there. That's just who Mr. T is. Season 1 of Pee-wee's Playhouse picked up where the stage show left off, bringing back Phil Hartman as Captain Carl, Lynn Marie Stewart as Miss Yvonne, and John Paragon as Jambi the Genie. New faces included Gilbert Lewis as the King of Cartoons, and future stars Lawrence Fishburne as Cowboy Curtis, and Essie Patha Murkison as Reba the Mail Lady. Other soon-to-be famous people who passed through the Playhouse included Sandra Bernhardt, Natasha Lyonne, Jimmy Smits, Rob Zombie, and John Singleton were both production assistants. Special guests during the holiday special included Magic Johnson, Joan Rivers, Oprah, Whoopi Goldberg, and several others. After spending season 1 shooting in a sweltering New York City loft, Rubens moved production to LA for more humane conditions. The set design was an expansion both physically and conceptually of the previously existing Puppetland Playhouse from the stage show, and features a plethora of design inspirations from Art Deco to 60s mod, pop art, and even works from the Renaissance. Given its Saturday morning time slot, Pee-Wee's Playhouse was designed from the start as a kids show, with deliberate educational content including a word of the day which would prompt kids to not only listen for that word, but scream real loud when it was used, a clever way to engage kids for the duration of the episode and use their natural inclination for making noise to positive effect. That said, Pee-Wee's Playhouse, like the stage show before it brought in an adult audience, Pee-Wee was smart and clever, as were all the writers. The show was visually unlike anything else on television. It showcased different styles of animation and maintained a pseudo-reality that was both familiar and strange. It was cozy and welcoming to everyone. While there might be conflict around a narrative in any given episode, there was always a happy resolution. The characters worked their differences out and resolved any misunderstandings. For the kids, it never talked down to them. For the adults, it was a reminder of simpler times. As a showcase for art, Pee-Wee's Playhouse didn't stop with the visual. Music was composed by a variety of musicians, including Danny Elfman, Mark Mothersbaugh, Todd Rundgren, and George Clinton. Cyndi Lauper sang the opening theme, credited as Ellen Shaw. Like every other Saturday morning kids show out there, Pee-Wee's Playhouse was a vehicle to sell merch. Plush dolls, trading cards, lunchboxes, clothing, party supplies, housewares, action figures, and playsets. All of that falling under the direction of Pee-Wee Herman as well. The commitment to the character and the brand didn't stop with the show itself. Pee-Wee's Playhouse successfully captured the excitement built up around the rise of Pee-Wee Herman as a pop culture icon at its highest point immediately after Pee-Wee's Big Adventure. With Rubens steering the production, it maintained its core values in front of and behind the camera as an inclusive and diverse series. Rubens wanted kids to know that, quote, "It's okay to be different, not that it's good, not that it's bad, but that it's all right. I'm trying to tell kids to have a good time and to encourage them to be creative and to question things," end quote. Pee-Wee's Playhouse ran 4 more seasons for a total of 45 episodes plus 1 holiday special. There likely would have been more, but the 1989 third season only had 2 episodes due to both the production on Big Top Pee-Wee, the sequel to 1985's Pee-Wee's Big Adventure, and the Writers Guild of America strike from March to August of 1988. Pee-Wee's Playhouse aired its series finale on November 17, 1990. CBS wanted a 6th season, but Rubens declined, citing exhaustion from the intense schedule required to produce the show and the energy required to maintain the character of Pee-Wee Herman. It was never his intent to live as the character for nearly a decade. He always assumed it was just one of many characters that he would bring to life. But history has become muddied. A year later, in July of 1991, Rubens was arrested and charged with indecent exposure at an adult movie theater, a charge that lit up the news cycle based on his reputation as a children's television star. Rubens admitted he was in the theater but denied exposing himself. Fans held rallies in New York, LA, and San Francisco in support. Cyndi Lauper and other celebrities publicly defended him. Some suggested that the police eagerly watching the audience in an adult theater was the real crime. I suggested that. But the damage was already done. CBS canceled the previously scheduled reruns of Pee-Wee's Playhouse. Disney MGM Studios in Florida cut Pee-Wee from an audio track describing how voiceover is done. Toys R Us pulled all remaining Pee-Wee's Playhouse merchandise. All 45 episodes of Pee-Wee's Playhouse are available on DVD from Image Entertainment. In 2013, Shout Factory acquired the rights to the entire series and released it remastered from the original 35mm film and audio tracks on Blu-ray. As of this video, you can rent or buy it through Amazon Prime Video. After Pee-Wee's Playhouse ended, Rubens continued to act in movies and on television, voice acting roles, big-budget Hollywood comic book movie spectaculars, and more. In 2010, he returned to the role of Pee-Wee Herman, and more specifically, the show that kicked off the entire phenomenon. The Pee-Wee Herman Show was once again a live stage show, updated to reflect the 30 years that had passed since Pee-Wee's Playhouse ended, with more modern references while maintaining the timelessness of Puppetland and the characters who lived there. New characters were introduced, some characters returned with new actors. Like the original Pee-Wee Herman show in 1981, it was recorded by HBO and subsequently released in 2011. Pee-Wee's Playhouse earned Daytime Emmy nominations and awards for nearly every year of its run, for outstanding makeup, outstanding hairstyling, outstanding art direction, film and sound mixing, videotape editing, graphic, and title design. It influenced a generation of artists to look at the world a little differently, to question reality and maintain a sense of humor, to explore art and find joy in simple things. Pee-Wee's Playhouse appealed to kids through the sometimes scary strangeness of the world that they didn't quite yet understand, when the things adults do seem weirder than the idea of a talking pterodactyl. For adults, it was a window into a time when the world was still exciting and unknown, with fun and adventure around every corner. Pee-Wee's Playhouse was always there for everyone. I don't know. Thanks for watching. Please hit like, hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber. Thank you very much to those of you who already are. If you're in the position to help the channel grow, if you'd like early access to the videos ad-free, as well as behind-the-scenes features, sneak peeks at upcoming projects, and exclusive monthly podcast about the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/toygalaxy and let us know in the comments down below when you first became aware of Pee-Wee Herman. I feel like I remember knowing he was a thing prior to Pee-wee's Big Adventure because I definitely wanted to see that movie, and I remember watching Pee-wee's Playhouse because there was nothing else on at that time of day. Hard to say whether I actually liked the show itself or just didn't want to not watch TV. Now that is a review to put on the DVD sleeve.